The clock hit midnight when I heard the suitcase wheels scraping against the floor. "Alina," I called out, my voice cracking. "What are you doing?" She didn't answer. She just kept zipping, folding, packing. The sound cut through me worse than any argument ever had. "Alina, talk to me," I tried again. "You're scaring me." She finally turned, her face pale and cold. "I'm leaving, Liam." My chest tightened. "Leaving? It's midnight. You can't just—" "I can," she said sharply. "And I am. I can't live like this anymore." I took a step closer, desperate. "Like what?" "I'm doing everything I can. I just need more time. Time." She laughed bitterly. "We've had years of time. I'm done waiting for your dreams to turn real." Her words stung like fire. "You know why things fell apart? The layoffs, the debt. I don't care anymore," she snapped. "I'm tired of excuses. I want a life, Liam, not bills. Not promises that never come true." I swallowed hard. "You're my wife. We made vows." She grabbed her purse and glanced around the room one last time. "Vows don't pay rent." "Lena," I whispered, "please. Don't do this. I can fix everything. Just stay." She stopped, her back to me. "You always say that, but nothing ever changes." Something in her tone broke me. "So that's it? You're just walking out?" "Yes," she said flatly. "I've already found someone who knows what he's doing." I froze. "What do you mean?" She finally looked me in the eyes. "His name's Victor. He's successful. He doesn't make promises, he makes results." My voice dropped. "You're leaving me for another man?" She didn't flinch. "I'm choosing a better life." I laughed, though it came out broken. "A better life built on betrayal." "Call it what you want," she said, shouldering her bag. "I'm done being dragged down by you." I wanted to scream, but no words came out. I followed her to the door like a ghost. "Alina," I murmured, "you said you loved me." "I thought I did," she said, not turning around. "But love doesn't survive failure." The door clicked open, and the cold air rushed in. She hesitated just long enough for me to hope. Then she said the words that would stay with me forever. "You're a failure." "Liam, I can't live like this anymore." The door shut. Soft but final. I stood there for a long time, staring at the spot where she'd been. My hands were shaking. My chest hurt. The silence in the room felt like punishment. After a while, I walked to the kitchen. The counter was covered in envelopes, unpaid bills, late notices, credit warnings. I tore one open. Her name was gone from the account. Everything was in mine. My stomach turned. She hadn't just left me, she'd left the debt too. I sank into the chair, my head in my hands. "You did this on purpose," I whispered to no one. "You planned it." The whiskey bottle on the table caught my eye. I poured a glass and stared at my reflection in the dark liquid. "You're a failure," I repeated her words quietly. Maybe she's right. The taste burned, but not as much as the emptiness inside me. The phone rang suddenly, loud and cruel. I snatched it up. "Hello." "Mr. Carter," a stern voice said. "This is from Apex Finance. Your payment's overdue again." I swallowed. I know. I'll send it soon. Soon isn't good enough. We'll be taking further action." The line went dead. I stared at the phone, then at the pile of bills. My hands trembled. "I'm drowning," I whispered. The walls felt smaller, the air heavier. I walked to the window. Outside, the city lights blinked like distant stars, so close, yet unreachable. Somewhere out there, she was with him, laughing. Free. I pressed my forehead against the glass. "You'll regret this," I murmured, not out of anger, but pain. "You'll see who I become." But even as I said it, I didn't believe it. Not yet. That night I slept on the couch she used to love. Her perfume still lingered in the air, haunting me. The empty side felt colder than ever. I kept my eyes open until dawn, staring at the ceiling. I told myself it was just another bad night. But deep down, I knew my life had just ended, and something darker was about to begin. The phone rang before sunrise. I didn't need to check the number, I already knew. Mr. Carter, the voice barked, your payment's overdue again? I know, I said, rubbing my eyes. I just need a few more days. We've heard that before. If you can't pay, we'll have to escalate this. Please, I muttered. Just give me until Friday. Friday, the man said flatly. No more extensions. The line clicked off, leaving me in silence. I stared at the cracked screen of my phone. Another deadline I couldn't meet. Another promise I couldn't keep by the time I got to work. My stomach was twisted in knots. Mr. Harper was already pacing by my desk. Liam, where's the report I asked for yesterday? I'm almost done, I said quickly. Almost doesn't cut it, he snapped. You've been slipping for months. What's going on? I forced a weak smile. Just personal stuff. I'll fix it, he folded his arms. You said that last week? You're a good worker. But this is your last warning. I understand, I whispered. He sighed and walked off. I stared at my computer screen, words blurring together. My mind wasn't on work, it was on Alina. On the bills. On how fast my life was collapsing. At lunch, I sat alone in the break room, scrolling through my phone. That's when I saw it, her face. Alina smiling in a red dress, leaning against a silver sports car. The caption read, New Beginnings with Victor. My throat went dry. My hand trembled so hard I almost dropped the phone. I whispered to myself, New beginnings, huh? The door creaked open. My coworker, Jenna, peeked in. You okay, Liam? You look pale, I forced a laugh. Yeah, just didn't sleep. You should take a break. Can't afford to, I said, and she left quietly. I stared back at the photo. Victor's arm around her waist. His smile wide and confident, the smile of a man who'd won. My chest burned with something between rage and shame. That night. I sat in the dark apartment, bills spread across the table. I spoke out loud just to hear my own voice. You left me with everything, I said to the empty room. Every loan, every card, every lie. My phone buzzed again. Another message from the bank. Final notice. I laughed bitterly. Final notice sounds about right. I called the number on the screen. This is Liam Carter. I'm trying to make a payment. Mr. Carter, the woman said politely. Your balance is quite large. Can you at least make a partial? I can send 200. That won't even cover the interest. I know, I said softly, but it's all I've got. After I hung up, I sat there staring at the peeling paint on the wall. My life had turned into numbers balances, due dates, threats. A knock at the door startled me. It was Mason, my old friend. You look like hell, he said. Feel like it too, I muttered. He glanced around the room. Elena's gone, huh? Yeah, I said, swallowing hard. And she left me the gift of debt. He sat down. You've got to stop chasing her ghosts, man. You can't live like this. I don't have a choice, I said. I'm trapped. There's always a choice, he said quietly. You just haven't made the right one yet. I stared at him. Easy for you to say? He leaned forward. Then make it easy. Start over. Do something for yourself for once. I laughed bitterly. Start over with what? I can barely afford dinner. Mason stood up. Then use the one thing you've still got in Gert. Turn it into something that pays you back. After he left, I sat in silence. His words kept echoing. Use the anger. I looked at the pile of bills again. For the first time, I didn't feel fear. I felt focus. Alina had chosen her new beginning. Maybe it was time I found mine. I opened my laptop, the screen glowing in the darkness. I didn't know what I was doing, but I knew one thing for sure. I would never beg again. I stared at the nearly empty apartment. The couch was gone. The TV was gone. Even the clock on the wall was gone. Only my father's old guitar sat in the corner. I picked it up, ran my fingers across the strings, and whispered, "Sorry, Dad." The next morning, I sold it. When the buyer handed me the cash, I felt something twist inside me, shame. Anger, freedom, all at once. Later, Mason called. You actually did it. Everything, I said. Car, furniture, Guitar gone? He whistled. You serious about this plan? I don't have a choice. I'm starting over. With what? I opened my laptop and stared at the blank screen. I don't know yet, but I'm done being the guy who waits for luck. Mason sighed. You sound crazy. I like it. What's the idea? I've been watching these resale sites. People buy broken phones cheap, fix them, and flip them for profit. I can do that. He laughed softly. You? The guy who couldn't even fix a coffee maker? I'll learn, I said, gripping the phone tighter. I have to. There was silence. Then his tone changed. All right. You're angry. Good. Use it. But be smart about it. I'll help you set up the basics. That night, Mason came over with his old laptop. We sat on the floor, surrounded by takeout boxes and half-drunk coffee. He pointed at the screen. Start small. One product. Buy cheap, sell high. Don't dream big. Just build. I nodded, taking notes. Buy, fix, sell, repeat. Got it. Don't chase revenge, he warned. Chase results. I smirked. What's the difference? He gave me a look. Revenge burns you. Results rebuild you. For days I worked nonstop. I'd buy damaged phones online, clean them up, replace screens, and resell them for small profit. Every time I heard the notification sound of a sale, it felt like breathing again. One night, Mason called. How's business? Tiny but alive, I said. I made my first $200 profit. He laughed. See? Told you. You're building something. I'm not there yet, I said. But I'm starting to feel like me again. And keep going, he said. You'll get there. After the call, I sat in the dim light, surrounded by tools and packaging boxes. My hands were blistered, my eyes burning, but I didn't care. Every sale felt like payback. Every click reminded me that I didn't need her anymore. Weeks turned into months. My small online page grew. Customers started messaging me directly. Some even thanked me for fast service. That feeling was addictive. One night, while updating listings, Mason texted, "You're obsessed." "Go sleep," I replied. "Sleep's for people who haven't been called failures." He sent a laughing emoji. Then wrote, "All right, machine man. Just don't forget why you started." I didn't reply. I didn't need to, because I knew exactly why. Every time exhaustion hit, I heard Elena's voice again. "You'll never make it without me." I'd whisper back, "Watch me." There were moments I doubted everything when a shipment got lost. When a repair failed, when customers demanded refunds I couldn't afford. Each setback cut deep, but quitting wasn't an option. Mason stopped by one night and saw the cluttered room. "You're killing yourself," he said. "I'm rebuilding myself," I replied. He studied me for a long moment, then nodded. "Then don't stop. Just remember Avenge Medov started this. But something better should finish it." I looked at my workbench, the tools, the screens. The quiet proof that I wasn't broken anymore. "I'm not stopping," I said softly. "Not until I become someone worth losing." He smiled. "Then let's build that man." That night, I turned off the lights and stared at the city outside my window. For the first time in months, I didn't feel powerless. I felt alive. 2 years can change everything. When I looked in the mirror now, I barely recognized the man staring back. The tired eyes were gone. The fear, too. All that was left was focus. Mason leaned against my office door, grinning. "You realize your company just crossed 1 million in sales?" I looked up from my laptop. "You sound more excited than me, 'cause I remember when you were fixing phones in your kitchen," he said. "Now you've got warehouses, staff, and actual investors calling you Mr. Carter?" I chuckled. "Don't remind me. It makes me nervous." He sat down. "You earned this, Liam. You built it from nothing." I leaned back. "I built it from anger. But yeah, it worked." A knock interrupted us. Hannah, my new assistant, peeked in. "Sorry, sir. The shipment from Singapore just cleared customs. Do you want to confirm the invoice?" I smiled. just Liam, Hannah. And yes, send it to accounting. Got it, she said, leaving quickly. Mason grinned. She's scared of you. I'm not that bad. You're intense, he said. You work like you're still trying to prove something. Maybe I am, I muttered. He studied me. Still thinking about her? I looked away. No. He raised a brow. Liar. I sighed. Sometimes I wonder if she ever thinks about me. That's all. Forget her. You're winning. Winning doesn't erase betrayal, I said quietly. Mason didn't push. Then let your success do the talking. Hours later, when everyone left, I stayed behind, scrolling through supplier reports. Numbers calmed me. Progress felt safe. Until a magazine on my desk caught my eye. Business Weekly, my pulse stopped. There she was. Alina, same smile, same perfect posture, standing beside Victor. The headline read, Power Couple Expands into Global Luxury Market. I stared at the photo until the letters blurred. Her hand rested on Victor's chest, her eyes glowing with pride. I whispered to myself, You made your choice. The door opened. Hannah poked her head in again. Working late? Just finished, I said, quickly flipping the magazine face down. She glanced at it. You okay? You look like you saw a ghost. Something like that. Bad news? I forced a smile. No, just old news. She hesitated. You ever take a break, Liam? I chuckled softly. I did once. Worst decision of my life? She tilted her head. Then maybe you should take one for a better reason this time. I nodded but didn't mean it. Go home, Hannah. I'll lock up. After she left, I picked the magazine back up. I traced Elena's smile with my thumb. She looks happy, I whispered. I hope it lasts. The next morning, Mason burst into the office holding his phone. You're trending, man. I blinked. What? Your company got featured on a startup site. Local entrepreneur disrupts import market. That's you. I laughed. Guess the world finally noticed. About time, he said. You deserve the spotlight. As he spoke, my phone buzzed. A message from an unknown number popped up. Congrats, Liam. I saw the article. You've come far. I stared at it for a long second before typing back. Who's this? You don't recognize your wife's number? Or should I say -X-wife? My stomach twisted. What do you want, Elena? Nothing. Just proud of you. You proved me wrong. Glad you noticed. Her next text came fast. You sound cold. You taught me how to be. No reply came after that. I put the phone face down and exhaled slowly. Mason noticed my expression. Bad news? Ghosts, I said. Then bury them. I smiled faintly. Oh, I plan to. Later that week, I attended a trade conference. Cameras flashed, hands shook, deals formed. Somewhere in the crowd, I thought I saw her dark hair. Red dress, but when I turned, she was gone. For a second, I almost wished she wasn't. When I got home, I poured myself a drink and stood by the window. Watching the city lights, I'm not the same man anymore, I murmured. And one day, she'll know it. I raised the glass in silence to pain, to growth, to the storm I was becoming. 2 years ago, I begged her to stay. Now, I didn't need her at all. But somewhere deep down, I knew the story between us wasn't over. Not yet. The gala glittered with gold lights and laughter, the kind of place I used to watch from the outside. Now, I was on the guest list. Mason adjusted his tie beside me. You nervous? Not really, I said, though my pulse said otherwise. You look like a man ready for war, he joked. Maybe I am. He walked into the ballroom filled with expensive perfume and polished egos. Cameras flashed, investors mingled. I nodded to a few familiar faces, smiling like I belonged. Then I heard a voice I hadn't heard in 2 years. Victor, darling, over here. I turned. My heart stopped. Alina, she looked exactly as I remember, delicate, flawless, and cold. Her laughter carried across the room. Victor stood beside her, tall and smug, holding a glass of champagne like he owned the place. Mason followed my gaze. You've got to be kidding me. Of course, I muttered. The universe has a sense of humor. He leaned close. You want to leave? No, I said quietly. Not this time. I walked across the floor, each step echoing louder in my head than the music. Alina turned mid-sentence, and for a second, she didn't recognize me. Then her smile faltered. Liam. Hello, Alina. Her eyes widened. You look different? I should hope so. I smiled slightly. 2 years changes a man. Victor turned, scanning me up and down. And who might this be? Elena's ex-husband, I said evenly. Liam Carter. Victor smirked. Ah, the failure I've heard so much about. I met his gaze without flinching. That was the old version. He doesn't exist anymore. Elena tried to laugh, but it sounded forced. It's good to see you doing well, Liam. I'm doing more than well, I said. I'm thriving. Victor took a sip of his drink. Congratulations. I'm sure selling used electronics is fulfilling. I tilted my head. It's funny. You talk down to me. But your company just signed with 2 of my distributors. His grin froze. Oh, didn't she tell you? I own Global Link Imports. Your luxury brand gets half its components through me now. Elena's lips parted slightly. That's impressive. I smiled faintly. You always did underestimate me. Victor's tone hardened. Don't get ahead of yourself. We could switch suppliers tomorrow, I said calmly, but you won't. My rates are the lowest, and my reputation's clean. Can't say the same for yours. He narrowed his eyes. What are you implying? I shrugged. Nothing yet. Lena stepped forward, voice softer. Liam, please. This isn't the place. You're right, I said. But then again, places like this were always yours, not mine. Mason appeared beside me, grinning. Boss, the investors from Berlin want a word. Give me a minute, I said, still looking at Elena. She hesitated. You've changed. Pain tends to do that, Victor muttered. You're still bitter. I laughed. No. I'm just patient. His smile turned sharp. Careful, Carter. You're playing in my world now. I leaned closer, my voice low. Your world? Let's see how long it stays yours. He blinked, taken aback. Lena looked between us, uneasy. Enjoy the night, I said, stepping back. You'll need it. Mason followed as I walked toward the exit. That was cold, he whispered. That was control, I replied. Outside, the night air hit my face. I loosened my tie and exhaled slowly. My hands were steady. My heart wasn't. Mason clapped my shoulder. You did what you came to do. Not yet, I said quietly. But soon. He smirked. You planning something? I stared at the skyline. No. I'm just waiting for karma to finish what it started. The city lights shimmered below like embers ready to ignite. For the first time, I didn't feel like the man who'd been left behind. I felt like the one walking ahead. Asterisk a month later, the call started coming in. Liam, Mason said over the phone, you won't believe this. Another one of Victor's clients just switched to us. I leaned back in my chair. Which one this time? Alton Group. Said his quality dropped. Something about unreliable suppliers. I smiled faintly. Unreliable or fake? Mason chuckled. Rumors say he's been cutting corners. Rumors, I said, can be useful when they're true. He laughed again. You didn't start this, did you? No, I replied. I just offered better deals. The truth was, I didn't need to destroy Victor. He was already doing that himself. All I had to do was stand where the clients could see me. Over the next few weeks, the shift became impossible to ignore. My inbox overflowed with partnership requests. Victor's name kept showing up in industry whispers: fraud, delays, missing shipments. At the office, Hannah walked in holding a newspaper. You might want to see this, she said. The headline made me pause. Victor Hale under fire for supplier scandal. I scanned the article. Fake parts, damaged goods. Lawsuits pending. Hannah studied me. You look calm. I am, I said. This was inevitable. Do you feel bad for him? She asked. I thought about it. No. Karma doesn't ask for permission. Later that day, Mason came by, grinning. Our numbers are up 20%. You're practically running half the market now. Good, I said quietly. He raised an eyebrow. Not even celebrating. Why would I celebrate someone else's downfall? Just doing business. Come on, he teased. Don't act holy. I know this feels good. I gave a half smile. Maybe a little. When I got home that night, I poured a drink and scrolled through social media. Elena's page was still public. The glamorous photos were no designer brands. No smiling couple shots. The captions had turned vague. Starting over. Learning to be strong. Some people change when you stop carrying them. I almost laughed. Starting over, huh? My phone buzzed suddenly. Unknown number. I almost ignored it, but something made me answer. Hello, a shaky voice replied. Liam, it's me. My heart skipped. Alina, silence, then a soft, broken sigh. Can we talk? I sat down slowly. What could we possibly talk about? Please, she whispered. Just 5 minutes. I hesitated. Why now? I don't know who else to call. Her voice cracked on the last word. Against my better judgment, I said, Where are you? Home. Victor's gone. He left the city. Took everything. Everything. She gave a bitter laugh. Money. Clients. Even my car. He said the debt's in my name now. I exhaled. Sounds familiar. I deserve that, she murmured. But please, can we meet? I didn't answer right away. My silence stretched. Liam, she said softly, I know I hurt you. I know I don't deserve kindness, but I can't breathe anymore. I just need to talk. Her voice trembled, and for a second, I heard the woman I once loved, the one before the lies, before the debt, before Victor. I closed my eyes. Tomorrow, Caffrenard, 8 o'clock. Thank you, she whispered. I didn't think you'd say yes. Don't thank me yet, I said. After the call, I stared at my reflection in the window. The man looking back wasn't angry. He was steady. Mason texted a few minutes later. You okay? I replied. She called. Alina? Yeah. What are you gonna do? Listen, he sent back. Be careful, man, I typed. Always. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about the irony. The woman who left me for money now had none. The man who mocked me for failing was the one losing everything. Maybe karma didn't need help after all, it just needed time. When the sun rose, I stood by the window, coffee in hand, watching the city wake. The skyline glowed gold, sharp and clear, like a promise kept. I whispered to myself, patience pays better than revenge. But deep down, I knew tomorrow's meeting would test that patience. Because no matter how much I'd changed, part of me still remembered what it felt like to be left in ruins. And now, she was the one standing in the ashes. The cafe had changed. Same brown walls, same soft music, same smell of roasted beans. But I had changed. I arrived 10 minutes early. She was already there, sitting by the window, staring into a cup that had long gone cold. When she saw me, her lips parted slightly. You came. I said I would, I replied, pulling out the chair across from her. For a moment, neither of us spoke. The silence between us was heavier than any argument we'd ever had. She broke it first. You look different. Success does that, I said quietly. She flinched. I deserve that. I didn't say it to hurt you, I replied, just stating a fact. Her fingers trembled around the cup. Victor left me. I nodded slowly. I heard. He took everything, she said softly. The accounts, the car, even the apartment. I'm staying with a friend now. I leaned back. So that's why you called? No, she said quickly. That's not well, maybe partly. But I also wanted to say I'm sorry. I looked at her, really looked. The perfect hair was dull now. The confidence was gone. She looked. Human again. Sorry for leaving, she whispered. Sorry for saying you'd never make it? I was wrong. I folded my hands. You were honest back then? Cruel, but honest. You didn't believe in me, and I can't blame you for that. She blinked, surprised. You're not angry? Not anymore. Her voice cracked. How? After everything I did, how can you sit there so calm? Because I already lived through the worst part, I said. The pain, the debt, the loneliness. Once you've lost everything, nothing scares you anymore. She lowered her eyes. I didn't mean for things to turn out this way. I know, I said. But they did. She hesitated. Can we start over? I stared at her, searching for any trace of the woman I once loved. Start over? Yes, she said quickly. I've changed. I see now what I threw away. You're different, too strong, successful. Maybe we could try again. I let out a quiet laugh. You want to come back now that I've become the man you didn't believe I could be? Tears welled in her eyes. That's not fair. Life rarely is. I still love you, she said suddenly. I know it's too late, but I do. Her words didn't hurt the way they used to. They just echoed and faded. Maybe you loved the idea of me, I said softly. The version that finally made it. That's not true, she insisted. I love you for who you are, and you should have stayed when I was no one, I said, because that's when it mattered. She reached across the table and touched my hand. Please, Liam, don't walk away again. We can rebuild together. I looked down at her hand, pale and desperate. Once, I would have given anything for that touch. Now, it felt like a weight. No, Alina, I said gently, pulling my hand back. We can't rebuild what was never real. Her lip trembled. So that's it? That's peace, I said. You taught me something precious, that people only change when they lose everything. I did. Now it's your turn. She shook her head. You're cruel. No, I said, standing. I'm free. I left a few bills on the table and walked toward the door. As I reached it, I glanced back once. She was staring at her reflection in the cafe window, tears sliding silently down her face. For a moment, I almost pitied her. Almost. Outside, the air felt clean, lighter somehow. The storm that had followed me for years was finally gone. I whispered to myself, goodbye, Alina. And this time, I meant it. A year passed after that cafe meeting, and I never saw her again. Not until tonight. Mason and I had just wrapped up a late meeting about our new foundation. You're actually doing it, he said, smiling. Helping people pay off debts? That's poetic justice. I shrugged, sipping my coffee. Maybe it's just balance. I know what it's like to drown, he nodded. You've come a long way, Liam. I've stopped chasing revenge, I said. Now I chase peace. Same thing sometimes, he joked. Not anymore. We laughed quietly. The city glowed outside the window, alive and calm. My company had expanded into 3 countries. We'd built something real, something clean. When we left the restaurant, Mason pointed across the street. Hey, isn't that the cafe where... Yeah, I said. Where she left me? He hesitated. You want to go in? I think I should. He smiled. Closure round 2? Something like that. I crossed the street slowly, the past echoing in every step. The cafe looked smaller now. Inside, warm lights flickered, and the same song played softly through the speakers. Then I saw her, Alina. She was wearing a plain uniform, tray in hand, moving between tables. For a moment, I didn't believe it was her. But when she turned, our eyes met. She froze. I didn't move. Neither of us spoke. Her face changed, shock first, then shame. She looked away quickly, pretending to wipe a table that didn't need wiping. Mason whispered, That's her, isn't it? Yeah, she's working here. Life's funny like that. Gave me a look. You okay? I'm fine, I said. Better than fine. Lena glanced toward me again, hesitant, like she wanted to speak but couldn't. I lifted my cup slightly in a quiet salute. She didn't return it. Instead, she turned back toward the counter, her shoulders tense. Mason leaned close. You sure you don't want to talk to her? There's nothing left to say, I replied. We said it all that day. Stayed for a few minutes, just long enough to finish our drinks. As we stood to leave, I looked at her one last time. She caught my eye again. This time, there was no hate, just regret. Outside, the evening breeze brushed against my face. Mason broke the silence. You handled that like a monk. I smiled faintly. It wasn't a victory I needed to fight for, he grinned. Still, you won. Yeah, I said softly. But not because she lost. He raised an eyebrow. Then why? Because I survived her. We walked toward the car, and the lights from the cafe faded behind us. For the first time in years, my chest felt light. No more bitterness. No ghosts left to chase. Mason looked over. You ever miss her? I thought about it. No, I miss who I thought she was. But that person never existed. He nodded slowly. That's deep, it's just the truth. When I got home that night, I stood by the window and looked out over the city. Every light felt like a heartbeat, a reminder that life moves on whether you're ready or not, I whispered. Thank you, Alina, for breaking me. The words didn't hurt anymore. They felt freeing. My phone buzzed with a new message, another approval for the foundation's expansion. We were helping families like I once was, giving them a second chance. I smiled. Full circle. Outside, the wind carried the faint scent of coffee from somewhere nearby. Maybe from that same cafe. Maybe not. It didn't matter, that chapter was closed, and for the first time in years, I didn't need revenge or love, or even forgiveness. I just needed this quiet peace, and the kind of victory no one else had to lose for me to win. The city below looked like a sea of stars. My penthouse windows stretched wide, reflecting everything I used to dream about. Success, peace, freedom. And yet tonight I wasn't celebrating. I was remembering. Mason's voice broke through my thoughts. You still awake? Barely, I said, turning from the window. You heading out? Yeah, he said, grabbing his coat. Big day tomorrow. That charity dinner's all about you. I smiled faintly. It's about the people we're helping. Same thing, he said, then studied me. You've been quiet all night. Something on your mind? I hesitated. Just the past, he chuckled. Still thinking about her? Not really, I said. More about what losing her taught me. He raised an eyebrow. Care to share your wisdom, Guru Carter? I laughed softly. Pain's a better teacher than love. It doesn't lie, and it never leaves you unprepared. You really believe that? I lived it, I said. If I hadn't lost her, I'd still be that man who begged, who doubted himself. Her betrayal forced me to rebuild from nothing. Sounds like you're finally grateful for it. I looked back at the skyline. Maybe I am. Mason leaned against the counter. You ever think about what would have happened if she'd stayed? Yeah, I admitted. And every time I see myself stuck, half alive, half dreaming, never growing. He smirked. So you're saying heartbreak was your startup fund? Something like that, I said, smiling. Emotional bankruptcy turned into profit. He laughed. Only you could turn pain into a business metaphor. I grinned. It's what I do best. He started toward the door. Don't stay up too late. You've got a speech to give tomorrow. Good night, Mason. When the door closed, silence filled the room again. I poured a drink and walked to the window. My reflection stared back, older, sharper, calmer. For a long moment, I didn't think. I just looked. Then I whispered, would I change anything? The question hung in the air unanswered. Maybe if I'd never met her, I wouldn't know what strength feels like. Maybe if she hadn't left, I'd never have found out what I was capable of. The truth was simple. I became this man because she broke the last one. My phone buzzed. A message from Hannah. Don't forget your notes for tomorrow's speech. And try to sleep. I smiled and texted back. Thanks. I'm fine, she replied instantly. You never sleep when you're thinking too much. Old habits die hard. I wrote. Good ones replace them. She sent back. I stared at the screen for a moment, then set the phone down. Maybe she was right. The wind outside picked up, brushing against the glass. The sound reminded me of that night years ago, the door closing, echo of her heels, the silence after goodbye. It didn't hurt anymore. It just existed like a scar that had finally faded but never vanished. I raised my glass. 2 scars, I said quietly. Proof I survived. I took a slow sip, then whispered, Thank you, Alina. Her name didn't sting anymore. It felt almost gentle, like an echo from another life. Thank you for leaving, I said softly. Thank you for not believing. Because your betrayal built the man who doesn't need your love or anyone's validation. Stood there for a while, listening to the city hum. Behind me, the reflection in the glass didn't look angry or haunted anymore. It looked content, and for the first time in years I realized something beautiful. I wasn't remembering her to feel pain. I was remembering her to appreciate the distance between who I was and who I'd become. I smiled faintly, the skyline glowing like quiet applause. Goodbye, Alina, I whispered one last time. Then I turned off the lights, and I let the night close gently behind me.